Hello, welcome to my third and final rapid game of the day. We have in English, I think the first we've heard so far. We get, I think this is a reverse Alapin, pretty much. However, down a tempo. In the same style as I usually play the Alapin as white, delaying d4 or d5 in this case. And had the extra move, then this is a normal move trick. So d5 takes, knight jumps in, suppose the queen just drops back, takes, 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 takes. So in the end my pawn ends up isolated, unfortunately. So in this case I move the bishop out with tempo, attacking the queen, and if check I just drop it back. Now this knight can come back to here to support the d5 push eventually. But I think I will start by discasting. Although I probably should contest the center relatively quickly. So let's see. I currently control. Sorry about the very loud clock again. So d5 is controlled 3 times, 4 times, and I only control it 3 times, so I can't push yet. I quite like knight c7. Trying to just quickly push for d5. Bishop f4 here attacks the knight, but it feels a little artificial. To be honest, I might play the knight to e6 and just put the pawn on d6 instead. And while this pawn is slightly awkward, it can be protected from behind by a rook. I'm reasonably happy with this opening offbeat, but I think still quite sound. Technically, I should be able to castle before white does. You can also place d5 now. Bishop g5, I don't think it's worth giving up the bishop until I've played d5. So d5, bishop g5 is slightly more annoying, but I think I do just push past. Okay, let's not spend too long. I didn't think the quality of these two moves is very different. Let's just castle. And now let's play d5. So d5, bishop g5. h6, bishop takes, queen takes on this pawn. So in all of this, I'm not losing a pawn, I think. Maybe not so quick. d5, c takes d5, take with this knight, no pins, at least as an option. d5, bishop g5, taking this pawn is a possibility. Actually, no. d5, bishop g5, h6, takes, queen takes, pawn takes, queen takes. Sorry, knight takes. I just take here in the end. Actually, the bishop is hanging. Perhaps I should consider just h6. I think tends to be an okay response. d5, bishop g5, d4. Knight a5, I think is unpleasant. Sorry, knight a4 is unpleasant. d5, bishop g5, h6, takes, rook, defense of the pawn. Okay, we'll just start with h6. I'm not yet committed to d5 or d6, so for something like knight here, I can go back and just play d6. The nice part about this system is, with c6, is that this bishop is uncomfortable here. I anticipate probably a similar kind of game to that one Alapin I played. There's been a lot of Alapins though, but I'll have to find it after this. I suppose the c1 bishop, now that I've played h6, is not so easy to develop. For instance, if it goes to f4, I have knight e6, and I think that's quite a bother. And even on f4, I don't think it's being too productive. I'm not entirely sure if I want my knight to be on e6, but I'm more sure that I don't want white's bishop to be on f4. b3, bishop b2 actually seems like a rather reasonable course for white to maybe take. I think I will just then push d5. d5, bishop e6, also stop. h6 has stopped the knight jumping in like this. I think a very definite equality. Okay, so knight a5. I didn't mention too much on this, but I was content to just drop the bishop back to here. Okay, I'll be away for a bit just to get a drink of water. This doesn't really accomplish anything, but it should be considered just because it does attack the knight. I think here I'll just play d5, as all my pieces are arranged to do so. And I'm being asked a sensible question: which piece do I take back with? I think I want to keep this knight here, just cozy with my king and protecting this square. I'm not so keen on putting my queen aligning with this bishop, although there's always a trade of queens. Trade of queens, I don't think I'm too keen on the... Well, a trade of queens where the rook comes to d1. I'm not opposed to trade of queens in general. So... This knight isn't doing much here. The other idea was to get it to e6 where it's controlling this square, but it's still controlling f4 from here. So I think just taking this is sensible. And that wasn't a good pre-move, as b5 I think was a reasonable move to maybe throw in. But you never know when your opponent's pre-moving. Unless it's bullet, then you might have a good chance of guessing. So... the knight has this square now, which is annoying for any deployment here. Just putting the bishop here, I think, in the style of a London, is quite comfortable. I feel like I should probably get my rook pressuring here and provoke e3. Although that's not the most dangerous move, I guess, to face. Queen e5 is nice just to, well, get one more piece to connect before connecting the rooks. And of course I sneakily threaten b5. All the squares are trapped. I feel slightly more comfortable waiting with this bishop to decide between maybe which of its options it should take. So let's start with just the queen coming out to here. I doubt my opponent will miss the threat. So, what, you can't bring the knight back? No, it's surprisingly difficult to stop. This really funny idea of b5. So, with pressure on c6, I think I like bishop f5 controlling this square so that when a rook comes here, this queen is feeling slightly uncomfortable. Not so high on number of squares. I have to pick up the pace somewhat. My time is running down slightly low. I don't think there are really any flaws in my position. This pawn, I guess, is undefended, but that can be taken care of without too much difficulty. Queen d2 to trade the queens I think is reasonable. Although I didn't have bishop b4, so... Okay. This is a possibility for white. Actually, what's wrong with b5? The knight has this as its... I can jump forwards as well. So I could jump this knight in first, but that's that feels a bit too gimmicky. Actually, no, that seems like a reasonable square for the knight. Not so easily challenged. Well, knight here. So either let's jump the knight in or align with the queen. This one feels slightly more interesting, but let's see. My piece is so nicely defended. Any funny business with this, I can meet with this. So let's try knight. And then I can follow with rook. I am, I guess, renewing the threat of b5. That's somewhat funny to me. Well, b5 can be met by b4 in this case. So I control the square 3 times and white controls it 3 times. This square for the moment is well defended. This knight, I think, probably would be happy to come here. I think probably g6 instead of h7. No reason to take away a flight square from myself. Well, in the case of knight here, I guess h7 is the one. I have to stay defending the knight. If this knight moves, then this becomes a possibility. So that's why b4 will be thrown in between. Or b4 immediately. And this is entirely reasonable. So let's not go here as that runs into this. a6 is no, actually. Well, there's no real extra benefit. Queen c7, I think, just loses a piece. Queen d8, I don't exactly savor, as the whole idea was to get a rook here. So if we can get queen a6 to not fail, I'll be happy with that. And the queen has to remain guarding here. And queen a6 I don't see any fault with. Time, of course, taking down lower. Also targeting this pawn in, I suppose, the far future. Let's bring this rook so that this rook can come here. Very standard knights on the, sorry, rooks on the D&E files. I suppose b5. Actually, no, b5 is more reasonable because. I don't like b5 in the case that it just undefends the c6 pawn. I don't think it's worth trying to get the bishop. I think I really would like to play rook to d8 next. So where does white want to move? Okay, hitting this bishop, I have to remain defending. I think I mentioned I wanted to go to g6. Let's just do a quick check to make sure that there's no mistake with that. Okay. It's also nice to have this now defended by a pawn. It's not going to be easily attacked again in the future. Now that the d-file is blocked, it might be more sensible to start with the e-rook to start on this plan of pressuring e2. But of course, I think if I had 2 extra moves, my 2 extra moves would be to put the rooks in the central files, indirectly pressuring this knight. The bishop f6, I think, is a reasonable move for the future. But while this knight is observing here, I like keeping this here. Especially as this would be a fork in the case this bishop was abandoned. So takes. My queen is also worryingly low on squares, which is, I suppose, what happens when you put it on e6. Not getting trapped yet, but I think an important observation to make. So I think, for safety's sake, rook e8, which also defends the rook, well, defends the knight indirectly. So then I can move the bishop away because when I take back this fork, it's hitting a protected piece. And you don't want to be giving away this bishop for this knight and bishop. Okay, I did not consider this move at all in the slightest. I'm not sure what the idea is. Perhaps jumping the knight into here, that's maybe a bit too slow. Honestly, what is the point? Uncovers this and this. Closes this. I think I'll just start with rook here then. For a lack of time to do much else. I suppose, of course, I'm threatening this, but that's not a very interesting threat. Queen here. Now, of course, I have to now consider the consequences of just taking this. I think I can get away with it as I just jump all the way back. How peculiar. Yeah, that doesn't seem to have anything wrong with it. Like any b5 trying to cut me off, I just take. Let's see. This knight can... Nope. This... It's a free pawn. I hope. I don't think my calculation has failed me in this case. Although, of course, you've seen it not be so accurate in other cases. I'm sure that this is one of the moves that my opponent would like to make. Of course, this one's not possible on account of this. And this one, I suppose, is not very desirable as this rook's hemmed in. And if I got a bishop in, that would be unfortunate. And also now when this knight moves, this is a fork. E for this. If white goes like here, I think I do just drop the bishop back. I'm not seeing anything fancy. Actually, no. Knight, rook takes on the rook, so the other rook. So knight here, knight jump in, the other rook takes a bishop. I take back. That is an exchange. What you can take here to get back a bishop. So that would be me giving up a 2 pieces for a rook. So I guess, no, that doesn't favour me. Well, in terms of material. I'm giving up all of my active pieces though for that. So I think that's not a good idea then. My opponent burning clock down to equal time, which is a glad sight to see. We now play some 3-minute blitz. Though I'm sure both of us will use more than 3 minutes. I'm glad that this knight is protecting this bishop. Maybe bishop f6 is appropriate. b5 would be interesting, except for the fact I think just my queen is getting trapped, probably. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. I want to slightly on this as a trading off pieces move. I didn't quite like giving up nice knight for not so nice knight just to trade pieces and the turn. Okay. This definitely has some threats. Not sure how good they are though. I think I take twice and just play bishop f6 and I'm up a pawn relatively cleanly. So, yeah. I don't think it should matter which knight I take with. Okay, I missed this as a move. It's a fancy move. Is there any way I can take advantage of it? Notably, this would be a fork. Do note, knight is defending this one though. Best square I don't think is going to be there. b5 maybe, but then it runs into maybe this. But it pressures on here. No, it runs into some knight, so I think probably this. And I think, yeah, bishop takes. Now, do I just go for the safe option? I think I just go for the safe option of trade these. Not very happy to do that, but a pawn is a pawn. Scary bishop for not so active bishop. Well, this is a forking square, but I'm very far away from it. This is, oh, that's an unfortunately, that would have been a quite dangerous threat. How shall I address this? I can do this. I quite like this. It's very direct. I'm not in a pin in any direction. And I would like to just get trade off these bishops, of course. If bishop g2, I think I'm happy to just rotate it around in this direction. Okay. This one seems more active. Of course, you have to block in this way. I think I can get away with this. I'm not sure. Because this is just an annoying knight jump. Let's just take and play knight into this unassailable square. I think it's well placed. I am up a pawn, so it's going to be a tense few minutes trying to convert this. Let's just bring the queen back to possible civilization. So if the knight comes in, and also covering the square. I probably don't want a rook trade, even if things feel much safer with them. Let's play... I think I maybe should just make some non-moves for time, which is of course tricky when your opponent may be making actual moves. This knight covering the e7 square is very nice for me. Eventually, I have the 3-on-2 on the queen side, so this is the majority I'm going to have to push to make a pass pawn. Let's maybe just try and sneak the queen in through this direction. I can always just go back. Of course, we note that this is a forky square. My opponent has to be making all of their moves on increment, which I think is not comfortable. This knight coming in here is actually, I think, rather a good choice for my opponent. Okay, let's just take here and take here. I might have let my opponent get away. Unfortunately. If this rook wasn't here, then I would have had a nice fork, but that was not the case. This might be just a for the... No, this is a force of queens, as I'm hitting the rook. Which maybe they'll not notice, down to... The fact they're not playing instantly is a good sign for me, I think. Or they were just unhappy that they had to trade. That was the other possibility. Oh, this is 2 pawns up. That's more than 1 pawn up. Okay, let's put the rook behind the passed pawn. And I suppose I have to avoid getting fought in the midst of doing all of this. So let's push. Also have to avoid blundering a piece. Not a fork. Different coloured squares. Stay on the dark squares. Let's just drop this back to prevent this check. Not a check, attack. Not quite. Let's just bring the king in. Check, come in. Attack on multiple ways. This is annoying. Let's defend this way. Is this just too trappy? I'm not sure. It's not entirely clear where the knight is going though, so I'll give it a go. Also just advancing my pawns I don't think can be bad for me. Of course this isn't exactly the scariest move to have to face. No, this is your knight. It's going to be a very hard endgame to hold down a knight. But you can try. Good game. Okay. Honestly, I think just a rather nice game by me. I don't think knight a4 could have been a good move. Funny moment where this would have been one. I really do just make, I think, good moves. I guess I knew this in the back of my mind as a in-between move, but it didn't change anything considering the fact that this was defended. Not the most resistance in the endgame, but it's hard down a pawn. Don't think I ever let it slip into a draw. Like, if you move the knight, this you don't want to trade. And if you play knight b2, you've played knight b2. This was a rather funny moment. just take the pawn. I have sufficient activity to be able to do such a maneuver. Yeah, and white was just hit by a series of just hard choices. I think 2 pawns up is enough just to be winning. Although I don't think there's any particular technique except just try to push the pawns. I don't think white was ever better. I guess we'll see. So here I'm going claiming that I played a perfect game, but I think the Stockfish's judgment will probably say something different, but I don't know exactly where. Oh no, there's a single move they could have... Oh. It's always annoying to see that. Apparently this was a reasonable way to play. I was worried after d5, bishop g5. Oh, d takes c4. I thought double pawns were scary. But I'm up a pawn. And then this. Okay. Yeah, I did kind of forget the fact this would be a pawn up. This is, however, of course, quite scary. Like, what is this? A lot of activity for like a double step, followed by knight e4, bishop pair. Or getting the pawn back. Kind of scary line. e4, I think, is interesting. I always have to set up with d6, and I think this is... Actually, what kind of structure is this? It's kind of reminiscent of a King's Indian defense, I think. Let's see. And so if we get the King's Indian defense on the board, c4, g6. Castles with e takes d4. Knight takes d4. We actually have the same structure, but with g3, bishop g2 instead. And so ironically, the fianchetto has switched places. Probably that does help white a bit more than it helps me, but I think this is a reasonable position to play. Bishop f5 starting. It doesn't go for... Queen e5 also stops knight jumping here. This is unpleasant to deal with. It's like, how do I get rid of it? Queen b6. That's a good argument. Rook d8 to start. And then if queen c2, knight b4. I didn't think about this at all. Ouch. Oh, bishop f5 is being supported by the queen from the side. That's so cool. If I definitely cut the line a bit short. I'm not quite clear on what to do here, but I think I've gotten just good development. Okay. We need to solve a problem of that, but once we've done that, I think we got some improving moves in, and white had to stumble around a few. So b5 here. So I thought I could take. And this is a fork. Yes, that would be a problem. And then if I took with the pawn, takes. This also hits the bishop, so I don't... Yeah, 2 pieces. So queen d8 only move, really, in light of all of that. But fortunately my opponent missed that, and just fell into the bad position. Knight c3, I guess, just can't be the way to go. Rook c2 is nice, I think. I would usually go bishop h7. It gives pretty much equality here, I think, owing to my queen not being well placed. But this is, I think, just far too cooperative. Oh, I forgot I could do this. This isn't an in-between move because this is a check. Okay. And just do this. Bishop pair as well. Even better than the game. Yeah, so that was a bit of a miss from me. Just not seeing that this was a legal move, really. Even though I saw it was perfectly possible in previous moves. Knight here was actually quite scary. Oh, this repositioning is nice. I think this gives white a preferable endgame to what they got. And here we just trade and... I maybe should have just gone for this. Like, this shouldn't be that scary, especially if the queen is not on the square to attack f7. That was very foolish of me. I think we shuffled for a bit, I think, equal by virtue of the fact moves equivalent. Didn't have to move this pawn, but it was being attacked twice, and so the question is what happens after this. Knight here, and what do we take? Okay, this is losing because it's a pawn down knight income. Okay, what if you do this? I didn't calculate anything like this. You're just stuck, so you can't. Yeah, I guess 2 pawns is a lot of pawns to be up. And in the end, see, f5 was maybe a bit too hopeful, but it did work in the end. Okay, thank you all for watching. Please do comment down below if you've somehow gotten all the way through, and hopefully see you all tomorrow.